with the movie The 2001 Space Odyssey, and then there was a scene in there where there was lots of bright lights and it was quite big for that time. How did you create that?
Well, that was called the Stargate sequence in 2001, and the story called for something that represented this transit into another dimension, something that would be completely abstract, not anything you could aim a camera at in the real world. You couldn't walk down a corridor, you couldn't film a miniature, it wasn't anything. And so I had been exposed to some things like time-lapse photography and what is called streak photography. Now, if you can imagine that you're out at night shooting moving cars with your camera on a tripod and you open the shutter for 10 seconds, a headlight becomes a bar of light, a long, called a streak exposure or a blur. Now, if you just imagine for a second a fluorescent tube or a piece of neon and you moved it, it becomes a plane, okay? Now, if you imagine further that you could blink it on and off in some kind of a pattern, it would become a plane with a pattern on it in three-dimensional space or in any shape you wanted to move it. So I realized that this was possible, and so I had to build a machine that would do this automatically over and over and over and over to make the frames. Each frame of the Stargate sequence took about 5 minutes of exposure per frame, with the moving artwork behind a slit and a camera that had no shutter in it. The camera stayed open the whole time it was moving while I was moving artwork behind the slit, so it created a pattern of light. And I had to do it twice, once for the left side and once for the right side, with different artwork.